HD SLR Shooter. Brought to you by Adobe, Akidio, Adamus, Blackmagic Design, Carl Zeiss, and Shutterstock.
Hi, Clint with HDSLR Shooter. We're here at the Next Video Expo, and I'm here with Richard of Carl Zeiss. And Rich, you guys debuted at Photokina, the new Otis 85mm, is that right?
Yeah, so we showed the lens publicly for the first time and started to release some reviews from third party, mostly photographers, some of the bloggers. So yeah, only a couple weeks ago. And actually the first Otis lenses, the 85, started shipping yesterday. So the first deliveries were made to the dealers. So we're getting a little better in terms of the release dates when we go public and when we start shipping. So this time only a couple week difference. So again, the first delivery is going out. We ship both the Nikon mount and the Canon mount versions at the same time.
Oh wow! So talk a little bit about this lens, and for those that are not familiar with the line itself, this was something that you guys spent a tremendous amount of time and R&D to develop something that was the best you could possibly make, right?
Yeah. So the project started about 3 years ago, and when we brought out the 55mm, which was the first lens in the line, we were targeting high resolution cameras, still photo cameras. Because there was a lot of transition and change in the medium format market, and Zeiss used to serve that business through Hasselblad and Rollei and Contax. And a lot of those customers have stopped using medium format and have gone full frame 35. And as resolution of those cameras have increased and the size of the pixels gets smaller, you need a lens with higher optical resolution to really resolve those fine details, especially at the frame edges. So the project started initially with the 55, and our plan all along had been to do a family of lenses as part of the Otis family. And 85 is the second lens to join, and there'll be more lenses in the future. And we're happy to say that the level of performance that we saw in the 55 continues in the 85. This is, without question, the best short telephoto that Zeiss has ever done.
Some video people are using these too, right?
Yeah, we're not saying don't use it for video, but we're not actively promoting it for video either. Yes, we're here at a video show, right? So it's the Next Video show, and I'm showing the two Otis lenses here. Because there are customers who are looking to shoot wide open without having to compromise image quality. And by that we mean reduced contrast, reduced resolution, flare, chromatic aberration. Most fast lenses you have to stop down 2 to 3 f-stops from wide open to really get into that lens's sweet spot. With this lens, there is no sweet spot. It's sweet throughout. I mean, it's at f1.4, you can comfortably shoot this lens wide open all day long and not have any of those compromises. I mean, you've got on the 85mm 96% MTF performance at 10 line pairs across the frame at wide open aperture. I mean, it's crazy in terms of the level of performance. Now to get there, we had to build a very different lens than our existing planar 85mm. And that is a really well-respected lens. It's a really nice portrait lens. It's a lens that, it's aperture dependent, or I would say that the image quality is aperture dependent, because you'll get very different results shooting that lens wide open as opposed to stop down. With the Otis series, you don't have that. You get the same, again, level of image performance regardless of what aperture you're shooting at. And I think what that opens up for photographers is the ability to shoot for shallow depth of field, for creative control, without having to see any sort of compromises with flare and chromatic aberration and loss of image sharpness. For filmmakers, it's a chance to shoot low light, particularly outdoor night scenes, street shooting, without seeing a lot of specular highlights around, street lamps and car headlights, and still, without having to go up to too high of an ISO where it's going to get noisy, and be able to shoot wide open. So, ultimately, you will see us become a bit more active promoting the lens for motion capture once we add some additional focal lengths in the family. But right now, with just the 55 and 85, we're somewhat limited because of the choice of lenses.
So what is the price point on the 85?
So it's a little higher than the 55. It's $4,490 is the list price. It's a very complex lens. I mean, we're looking at 11 lens elements, 9 groups, 6 low dispersion glass, 1 double-sided aspheric. It's both from the type of materials that we use, but also the build quality and the amount of QC that goes into testing and checking the lens before we ship is much higher than the rest of our lenses. It weighs about 2.6 pounds, It's a good sized lens.
It's a serious lens.
It's a serious lens, but on camera, it's well balanced. It's not terribly bigger than a lot of short zooms that people carry around all the time. Focus is buttery smooth. I mean, it's helicoid driven, but like the 55, a long throw, 248 degrees, and really very, very, very smooth. So nice focus control if you're shooting video with it, and from still shooting. Even though it's a manual focus lens, what's great about it is your focus really pops in the focusing screen due to the high contrast and the bright image that comes onto the screen.
And available in the Nikon and Canon mounts right now.
Yeah, exactly. So started shipping. It's going to take us a couple months to work through the back orders, but I would say that in the next day or two, we're going to start to see lenses show up in photographers' hands, which is great.
Now, what's the next in the series? Can you talk? No, but there is another one though.
No, this has been I think a good move for the company. I think in hindsight, it was it was the right product at the right time. We started to design this lens series before high resolution sensors were even available. It's before the D800, before the A7R hit the marketplace, and I think that with those cameras coming in, and for what we see, if you connect the dots and look at sensor technology over the next couple of years, you will really see that these lenses, have a home and really fit well for both, 4K plus capture on the video side, as well as 36 megapixel and higher capture on still photo side. I think right lenses at the right time, and I think as the family develops, you'll start to see these lenses become more widely accepted and widely used out in the market for both video and for still use.
Now, not to change the subject, but you guys, I think at IBC were showing a mock-up of the new power or zoom, right?
Exactly. So we showed a non-working prototype at NAB. At the IBC show a couple of weeks ago, it was a working prototype. So it's a accessory for compact zooms. It's a single accessory that'll fit onto all three zooms. So there's a mounting bracket or collar that gets mounted to the lens itself, and then this accessory just snaps on, snaps off. It will be powered for iris, powered for zoom, with an option for powered focus. It's universally, accessible for wireless control. So Preston C-Motion units, I can control it wirelessly. I can use the lens as just an ENG style lens. So I think as we start to see the broadcast camera companies coming in with bigger sensor cameras, and you need an ENG style lens that covers the image circle for Super 35, that's kind of the market that we see here. Our plan right now is to begin shipping the unit by NAB next year.
Do you guys have a price point in mind yet?
Yeah, we're looking around 7,000 to 8,000, I think, for the single accessory. And again, working on all three zooms, so it's not you wouldn't have to get a dedicated servo controller for each zoom that you would have. So somewhere in that price range, and we'll finalize it going into next year. Continuing with with our naming of lenses for bird families. Loxia is a type of bird, just like the Tuit lenses and the Otis being an owl. And these will be full-frame E-mount lenses designed for the Sony A7 series, whether or not it's A7S, A7, A7R. They'll be fully communication with the camera, so they'll have the E-mount. They cover the 24 by 36 sensor size. What's unique about it is that they'll be manual focus lenses, so the first full-frame E-mount manual focus lenses, and they'll be promoted for both still and video. And for video applications, we have a declicking of the aperture function. So there's a set screw on the back of the mount with a declick key with a half turn. You'll have a continuous iris, or turn it back and you'll have 1/3 f-stop clicks. So depending if you're shooting stills or shooting video, it's a single lens that'll be able to help you with both.
It's like a cine lens then.
Yeah. And a lens that has hard stops at the close focus and infinity. So you always know where your infinity mark is. It's not your manual focus ring just doesn't spin 360 degrees. You have proper focus scales and depth of field scales on the outside of the lens. So, and small and very compact and fitting with the camera. So we'll be promoting it on video, particularly with the A7S I think that'll be a nice combination once it's all rigged out. We'll have a 35 f2 and a 50 f2 to start. The 50 f2 will start shipping within the next 2 weeks, maybe next week, and the 35 f2 within a month.
So a lot of exciting things going on, and again, the new 85 Otis available now. 2 weeks on the new Sony E-mounts.
Yeah, on the first Loxia, on the 50.
On the 50 Loxia, and it looks like maybe next year on the servo lens or servo controller.
Shipping by April 2015.
Excellent. If you want to find out more about Zeiss lenses or any of these products, what do they do?
Well, they can read your site, or go to the Zeiss site. So it's zeiss.com/cine.
Thanks so much, Rich.
Thanks.
HD SLR Shooter. Brought to you by Adobe, Akitio, Adamus, Blackmagic Design, Carl Zeiss, and Shutterstock.